Okay, hello. This is part two. This is Palta's error instruments, and this is part two of the error zapper. And this is how to assemble the error zapper into the housing. Here's Avi again. Thank you for
Hello.
watching.
Okay, so in this part we're gonna go, we already have made this whole board with all the components on there, and we're gonna make it, assemble it into this finished product. So to start we need two of this panel, and actually they are the same, so you have two of the same boards in your kit, but the bottom side is different than the top side. So as you can see, here are the letters written on there a little bit bigger, and here everything is a little bit smaller. Here it says out stereo 9V, and so it's a little bit different. And we're gonna start with the front panel. So get one of the panels and make sure you have the text with the out stereo 9V here on the bottom, and then let's focus this, external inputs over here, volume. So this side should be up because this is the top side, the front panel, that should go on here like this. So the first step that we do is get from the component bag. We have 8 screws, maybe a little bit more because we gave some extra, but there should be 8 nylon screws in there. But 4 of them are shorter than the other 4, so just get them out and I'll show you the difference. There's one screw like this, and then there's another one like this. One is 6mm, one is 8, so you can see the difference clearly. And just get 4 of the small nylon black screws from your component bag. Put them down over here. And then also get 4 of the black nylon spacers. They're 10mm long, but we only have one size, so just get the 4 spacers that are in your kit like this, and let's put them down here. And so grab your first panel with the external inputs, volume, out stereo 9V on the top, and put one of the screws that we just took out of the bag into a hole, so this hole, and then the other ones go into the other corners, but we start with this one, and just screw the spacer on there from the other side. So let's do this with all 4 corners of this front panel. Put it in and screw the spacer from the other side. And over here one like this, and then the last one over here. They don't have to be super tight, but you can just feel when the resistance gets a little bit higher, just stop, so it's hand tight on there. So now we should have something that looks like this, sort of a table almost. And we're gonna take our board with all the components on there and put this front panel on there like this. Sometimes you have to twist the spacers on this side a little bit, so the flat side is touching the jack, because if it's bent a little bit then it does not fit. So just turn them a little bit until you can push them down all the way like this. And so this should look like this. Put it down, we don't have to screw anything in there yet. And then we can start with the 2 jacks over here. Those have a nut each, and just take the 2 jack nuts out of your bag and screw them on the jacks. you can also do this by hand if you want it a little bit tighter. You can get some pliers, but make sure you don't go too rough on them because you can scratch the panel. I usually do it with my hand, so I cannot really damage the board. Just screw them on there hand tight. And now this part is connected to the back panel, so that's good. And then next we, because this is all open and bare, so if we just set it to you like this and you hold the module, the microphone in your hand like this, your fingers are touching all the pins, all the amplifier pins, and it's gonna give a lot of noise and a lot of circuit bending stuff, which is cool, but not for this microphone. We don't want that. So we have the other panel, and this is gonna go on there like this, so this forms a sort of case for the whole thing. But this panel shouldn't touch the pins that are sticking out on the back of the PCB, because otherwise that can cause short circuits, and we don't want that. So let's take the PCB and just cut off all the legs that are sticking out a little bit. Don't do it too short because that might damage the pads, but just make sure nothing is actually sticking out of the board. So the jacks can be cut a little shorter. The potentiometer legs can be cut a little bit shorter. Just a little bit. Over here everything is okay, I think. Here the jack, the stereo output jack we can cut. And this. And just tilt your boards to the side, and then you can see if there's anything sticking out really far, and I think this should be okay. So if everything looks like this, then you're fine. So then we're gonna take the other board and put it on there, but we still need a little bit of space between this and this board and this PCB. So we take the other 4 screws, the longer screws, out of your component bag, put them over here, and now make sure that you have the board the other way around. So make sure you have the side up that only says Error Instruments and Static Zapper, so nothing of the other small volume blah blah blah. That should be pointing down now. And now once again take a screw and put it in the one of the 4 screw holes. And then we're gonna take from our bag the 4 M3 nuts. So there should be 4, maybe there's 5, but that's just one extra. Just take out 4 of the M3 nuts from your bag and screw a nut on this M3 8mm nylon screw, but don't screw it in all the way, just so it's in there, it's holding it in there, but you can still like shake it a little bit. And then we repeat this for all the 4 screws. Put it in there and then put the nut on there, but not all the way. So if you shake it, you can hear it rattling a little bit, and that's good. Now this hole on the bottom, put the nut on there. Oops, see, I dropped one, but luckily I have an extra one in my bag, so I don't have to get on the floor to grab it, because we are all lazy. So put the nut on there, also a little bit loose, and then the last screw goes in the last corner, and we put the last nut on there, also a little bit loose. So now we take our microphone, flip it around, and as you can see, this whole backboard fits on there with the screws in the holes. So just put the screws in the holes so everything is aligned, and you can see it with the holes. There should be like these spirals. You can see everything. Well, actually it doesn't even fit the other way around, so this should be easy. Just make sure it's a little bit in there, and then we can take a Phillips screwdriver and start to screw these screws in there, and they have to go in the spacer. So just push a little bit forward and don't tighten them, just make sure all the 4 screws are actually gripping in the spacer before you tighten them. So just do this with all 4 corners so you can feel that it starts gripping, but don't tighten it. And then the last one. So now this is on there like this, but it's not tight yet, and now we can start 1 screw at a time to actually tighten this until everything is really tight on there and really connected. Just like this. If the nut is like causing it to twist with it so it doesn't actually tighten, then you can just try to hold the nut a little bit or grab it with pliers while you tighten this so everything actually turns. And then the bottom of this instrument should look like this. And well, that actually makes it into a nice holdable microphone that you can walk around with without being scared of touching the circuit and circuit bending stuff. So, and now we can actually finish this with the last tiny steps, which is the on-off button. Oops, needs a cap or like a knob on it. This is the gray switch cap that is included in the bag, and this has a rectangular hole, and the on-off switch also has a rectangular pin, and just make sure this is aligned the same way, and then you can push the switch on there. Just push it a little bit through and then it's connected. You can still take it off, but it's on there well enough so it doesn't fall off while using it. And then this button is working, which is really nice. And now the potentiometers need knobs, so just twist the potentiometers all the way to the left and get your knobs from the bag. And the knobs have a little tiny stripe on them over here, and this is the point that you can see in which direction the potentiometer is pointing. So let's focus. So this tiny indication on the knob should be pointing like diagonally to this direction, so it should be a little bit like this. I can show you like this. Just put it on there, and when it's in the right direction you can push it through until it clicks a little bit, and that means the knob is on there. And do this exactly the same for the other potentiometer so they point in the same direction. And now these knobs are on there, and that is actually the last step of finishing this electromagnetic microphone, the Zapper. I hope you really enjoyed this and everything went well, and that your end result looks like this, because that is the way it should look. Otherwise something went wrong.
Okay. Yes, Evie, thank you very much for showing this. There's a few things I want to tell some credits to Loam Audio, who make a different model years ago. Karl-Heinz Stockerhaus, of course, Martin Haus, who also makes something like this. More people. What's good about it is it has input. You can put a bit sniffer in there. So, or what Evie already told, like a pickup mic or something else to play with it. Watch out for your ears, it can be hard. This is the volume knob of the left and the right side. So you can hear this on a stereo jack over here. And you can listen to your computer, your telephone, to the screens, to every electronic thing, your microwave, everything. Yes. Okay, this is Aero Zapper, and I want to thank Evie for showing this how this works, and good luck with using it. And don't make your neighbors crazy. Yeah.